So I had this dream, and it was really quite weird. MS Dhoni was in it. But in this dream, he had never actually played for India. And yet, he was still a star. But like a weird one, the kind that you only really dust off in case the fans are very, very annoyed or bored or angry. In fact, in some games, he is kept on the bench so long that he ends up batting at number 9. A man who averages 50 in ODI cricket and has more IPL titles than orifices is batting number 9. What a weird dream that was. Welcome to Previously at the IPL.
As a cricket journalist, I would travel sometimes up to 200 days a year. I loved watching cricket games. I loved going to new countries. It was an absolute dream. But there was one thing I hated more than anything else about it, and it was this little pin. The thing that I need to change my SIM card in every new country. The absolute worst thing about this pin and SIM cards is when I was traveling to the West Indies, of having to arrive in every new island or country and having to work out if I could still find this pin and then line up and get my SIM card in every single airport. Well, now we have the answer thanks to Saily. They can make it so you never have to worry about this nonsense ever again. They use an eSIM app that once you install once, it is easy, simple, and cheap. Oh, and it works in more than 160 countries. And you can throw these pins away forever, because now you just need to download the Saily app before your trip. And if you do it with our code, Good Areas, you get an exclusive 15% discount on Saily eSIM data plans. So before your next holiday or work trip or any time you have to travel to another country, download the Saily app and use the code Good Areas, or one word, at checkout, and you can travel like a pro with Saily.
So we have a chance of restarting the IPL. Of course, when it comes to this tournament this year, there is a chance that one of the players would actually drop that chance. And I get it. Players hit the ball higher now than they ever have before. And because of that, you have to wait longer than a mummy deep sea octopus does to give birth. Look that up. Also, because players hit the ball so high now, it means that half the field come over to actually take the chance. The whole thing looks a lot more like a Benny Hill clip. Just people running into each other and, I don't know, missing everything. Is it possible that we're creating a generation of cricketers without hands? The search for our first 300 game is still actually on. Well, actually, I'm not sure if it's on. It kind of paused even before the season paused. Because the Sunrisers went absolutely crazy early on. And then since then, there's actually not been as many runs. Maybe we need more impact subs. What about 11 batters? And the bowlers can, I don't know, hit the showers. But what has happened to the runs? Have you seen the Sunrisers play this season? It's like watching a creepy 22-year-old who has no game at all try and flirt with 16-year-olds that legally he shouldn't be talking to, and they also happen to know he's a loser. That was a longer analogy than I thought it was going to be. But Travis Shack used to sound very cool, and now it sounds like a mid-level industrial company that sells the aglets that go on the end of your shoelaces. And somehow, Punjab is no longer a joke. They are also not quite fully a serious team, but they're like on their way. And this is a huge improvement. Who knew that building a sensible squad and making a bunch of really smart decisions around your cricket could help in, T20 leagues? I mean, maybe they should have tried that a little bit earlier. That's just a thought. There are no right answers here. Lucknow did not suck as much as everyone, mostly me, thought they would. Then people started bowling full and straight to Nicholas Pooran early in his innings. And now they kind of suck almost exactly at the level that we thought they were going to again. Having said that, this is still a win because they could have sucked harder. Talking of surprisingly not sucking, RCB might actually break the curse this year. Of course, they also might not. They had 2 wicket takers on their team, and one of them is injured and gone. Weirdly enough, Australia spent an entire generation ignoring Josh Hazlewood's bowling, and now his injury might tank RCB's hopes of winning it all. But I think the last couple of weeks have really told us a lot about RCB as a team. Because just as they were playing their best IPL cricket ever, a war started. And remember, there are no coincidences. Some teams are just not meant to have nice things. This is also the year of the fan wars. And it's like football fans from England, except with less bald guys who actually live with their mums. I think we have seen this coming for a long time. And in one way, it's good because it means that these made up teams actually now mean a lot more to people. But it's obviously also just a little bit boring and boorish. I mean, at a certain point, we have to remember these are just all people wearing matching pajamas together. And not only that, next year they might wear different pajamas. Go and touch some grass. And speaking of boring, Gujarat's top three has been absolutely, without doubt, the most monotonous team. Having said all that, they seem to be 100 for 1 in like every game. Like, it's not a bad monotonous, is it? And it's a lot more exciting than last year. And to be honest, this all feels kind of decent, especially if you have the bowlers to match it with. I mean, imagine how good they would be if they let Kishore actually finish his quota. Maybe someone should refer to him as their anchor bowler, and then they'd be a lot more excited about it. Also worth noting that this year, Rahul Tripathi still plays in the IPL, and I need each and every single one of you to know that. But CSK have finally imploded. Not even MS Dhoni's tail order heroics can save them. They went with old guys, and then they collectively broke a hip. They might argue that if their wickets spun, they'd be better, but they also couldn't bat, so no one gives a shit. Hilariously, the only thing that CSK have done well this year is play so poorly that they've actually ended up having to play their backup players who, weirdly enough, seem better than their frontline players. It's not a good sign when you spend all that money at the mega auction and then the bargain basements you get from the local corner store are actually better. But also, and this is very important, Martre's mustache is magnificent and should have its own Instagram account. Digvesh Rathi is the latest mystery spinner who is really a carom bowler with the odd added trick. I'm not sure they're mystery anymore. Anyway, I like him. He feels like a good guy who reads books and calls you comrade. Obviously, we need more spinners like this. He's also very good at finding the right length, like a master tailor. He's right in there, just at the bottom of your crotch, almost at all times. Also, Varun Chakravarti has been awesome, basically bowling the wrong end that goes dead straight. How weird and wonderful it is that perhaps the least playable bowler in the league, and maybe in the whole world at the moment, is essentially just coming in and bowling straight breaks over and over again. I mean, are you even a spinner anymore if you don't actually spin it? And does top spin count? Probably not. Don't ask yourself any of these questions while you're high. Mayank Yadav has come back to the IPL, and so far we've seen more life in his hair than his deliveries. To be fair, it is a magnificent Ben Affleck bouffant that I think might have a small family of woods living in it. Rohit Sharma is making runs. Well, he's made 350s. And the last time he did that, we were all washing our hands more than once a week and also spitting on cricket balls. Oh, and talking about saliva. The ball is reverse swinging again. Hallelujah. So saliva must help, except that it almost definitely doesn't. And a lot of the hype came after a Mitch Stark spell in which he admitted later to not actually using saliva. But the real magic spittle is probably the fact that bowlers actually believe that the tour works, so they're actually going out to try and get the ball to reverse swing more, and because they're trying to do it more, it is doing it more. Either way, I think we can all agree we should probably spit on things less. Of course, it wasn't all spitting on balls and watching Rohit Sharma. I don't know why I put those two together. But we also had our first game ever cancelled because it was too close to an ongoing war, not to mention that at the same time they had a lot of lights on, which would have made it a lot easier to attack. Obviously, a terrible thing. Glad that game was stopped. But it did mean that Alyssa Healy ended up on the same bus with Shreyas Iyer, and I think that sounds like an awesome new relationship podcast. Shrelissa? Shrahili? I'm not sure. We'll workshop the name. And then, of course, we come to the story that shook up the world, but mostly just made parents everywhere look with utter contempt at their useless progeny. Vaibhav Suryavanshi smashed the second fastest IPL 100 ever at the age of 14, or 15, or 16. Now, I would say that age doesn't matter. And let's be honest, age doesn't matter because most fully grown adults couldn't do what he did. But in this case, I think it matters because of the parents. Think about it this way. For all the parents around the world who got to see this, they finally understood just how underachieving their child really was. And it allows them to use this in a way. Like, for instance, just do the dishes, you lazy shithead. What is wrong with you? I just watched a fetus make 100 in an IPL game, and you can't even pick up your crap-stained underwear and put them in the laundry basket. And when you really think about it, isn't that the true spirit of cricket?
Brian Lara used pot plants to work on his placement. John Wright glued his glove to his bat. Sachin Tendulkar dug up practice pitches. Tatenda Taibu cut the top off his bat. Claire Taylor used a hockey grip. Steve Smith was from tennis. Dean Jones would call phantom runs. And Victor Trumper turned the nets into a war zone to survive. The best batters in the world do whatever they have to make runs. We have told their stories in our new book, The Art of Batting.